Not quite the field of dreams that we're used to. Nevertheless, I'm still excited. It's cotton picking time in Tennessee. All right, we're getting a later start today than what I anticipated. As usual, things did not go according to plan. We got everything ready. Had to do some more, had some water leaks and stuff that had to fix on the picker after we filled up with water, and a couple other odds and ends. Got all the other stuff moved up here. It's definitely ready to go. And then we pulled the blasted old bush hog out, and I need a new bush hog. I mean, that's all I say. I need a new bush hog. Hydraulic cylinder, all of a sudden they picked it up, started spraying out oil everywhere. Went and got a new hydraulic cylinder. It didn't fit. So then I was finally able to track somebody down that had seals for my old cylinder. Resealed it, got it going. And now we got a bearing going down on the gearbox. And so we just overfilled it with oil. I'm just praying it makes it through cotton picking time to get all these stalks mowed. But I'll tell you what, I need to be looking at a new bush hog. Unfortunately, finances is not going to allow me to look at a new bush hog this year. But anyway, I was hoping to get started a couple hours ago, but that didn't happen. But that's fine, because really this cotton needed as much time as it could get. In fact, it really needs the rest of this afternoon, because just a few days ago we got another good rain. Got 2.25 inches this time, and well, when that water hits all that open cotton, it just makes it kind of draw up back into the hull and everything. And even though it was actually dry enough to pick yesterday afternoon, the cotton really wasn't fluffed out very good, and it would have done a terrible job of picking. Also, the lint is a little stained from the, from the stuff in the hulls and everything. Kind of gives it a brownish color, which would really hurt the grades. Really needs a sunlight to bleach it back out to give it that good white color, so we can get premium grades on it. So every hour that it's getting with this breeze that we've got, sunlight and everything, is only helping it fluff back out. It's going to give us a better quality cotton. It's going to pick cleaner. It's going to leave less in the field and everything. So while I've been in a hurry, I really haven't been in a hurry, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I think we've given it long enough. Let's get this bad boy fired up, start blowing some cotton in the baler. All right, everything has already been greased, lubed, water filled up and everything. We're starting out with 10 wraps on a roll that we were finishing up with last year. So now, before we get started, we got to get everything warmed up, get the heads warmed up, get the accumulator warmed up. To get everything warmed up, we're just going to start off by running our heads slow, get all the grease worked into the heads and everything, and then we will gradually speed it up, and that just makes sure the grease is in all the bars real good, it's warmed up, and we're not putting everything under a big strain when all these bars and everything start turning at a real high speed. The grease that we put in the heads is not like your usual multi-purpose grease. It's actually called cotton picker spindle grease. It's a real lightweight viscosity grease that when it gets warm, it doesn't really liquefy, but it comes really close to liquefying. And then we're also going to run our accumulator and everything, get all the oil, hydraulic oil and stuff warmed up. That way we don't run the risk of plugging everything up whenever we start putting cotton in there. Oh my gosh, this buzzer that I put in is already driving me crazy, and I haven't even picked the first bowl of cotton yet. And I've gone all throughout my menus. I cannot find any way to turn the volume down. Well, we got everything warmed up. Let's blow some cotton in the basket and see what all we didn't do right when we was working on the picker this summer. gonna get old quick. All right, we got cotton blowing in the basket. Accumulator, that is, my bad. We picking cotton, folks. All right, guys, I don't want to make the same mistakes that I made a bunch of last year, doing a lot of talking on camera before I got fully acclimated to running the picker again and screwing things up and choking things up and everything else. So I'm going to turn the camera off, focus on picking, making sure everything is set right and doing what it's supposed to do, and then I will bring you back. Alright, we just got our first module of the season built. Let's go back there, see what it looks like, make sure it's wrapped okay. Well, it's wrapped like it should. However, you see that wrap around the edge? Look how loose that is. Kind of the same problem we was having last year at times. I don't know if we got a problem with the brake or what, but it's wrapped, it's not going anywhere. Hopefully that's just like the first wrap of the season and maybe it'll get better. We'll try a little bit more, but it was successful. There should be, I don't know about, it's impossible to say, but should be somewhere around 4, possibly even 4.5 bales in there based upon what we was getting last year. And we picked 3.5 acres. It's showing an average yield of 684. Now, obviously, I mean, we haven't calibrated. God bless, this buzzer is driving me up a wall already. I didn't put like 3 layers of duct tape over it. Fixing to be a 4th layer. Anyway, I was saying, obviously we haven't calibrated the monitor yet. University of Tennessee is supposed to bring their scale out tomorrow. We'll pick a module and calibrate the monitor. That's just going off last year's yield calibration, which, you know, got no idea how close it is. But I mean, obviously this is not good cotton. I knew it wasn't going to be good cotton. I mean, for the year it's had, I mean, I'd say it's okay cotton. And it's got some good spots in here. I mean, it's got some spots, you know, 1,400 pounds, and then it's got a lot of spots that's 500 pounds just due to the drought. I mean, the kind of variability we saw in corn this year, we're going to see the exact same thing in cotton. But even when we do get the yield monitor calibrated, we still won't have a good idea of what this cotton yield is, because we don't know what the turnout's going to be. And what the turnout is the percentage of weight of what we're picking, what percentage of that weight is actually lint. And we won't know until the cotton's ginned and we get the report from the gin. I got the monitor set on 40% turnout, which ought to be in the ballpark, but just a 1 or 2% difference in turnout, I mean, it can make a pretty big difference in yield, either for the better or for the worse. Now we'll go right here, drop the module in some clean ground. We got Carter on the module mover today. He's out this week on spring break, and he's been working all week long. He's been anxious to be in the cotton field, and he's getting his chance. This buzzer's gonna get disconnected before long, I got a feeling. She's gonna tell me I've got a problem with the door sensor on my number 5 unit. I got down there and checked, and I made sure it's not making any contact or anything. I don't know if maybe I've got a bare wire causing it to ground out and go off or what. I don't know. That'll be a problem I investigate tomorrow morning. All right here we're in a low spot of the field. You know, I mean that cotton looks fantastic, and you know, it's showing, you know, 1,400 pounds per acre right here. Again, we don't know if the monitor's accurate. We'll find out tomorrow. But for all the things we've had to get dialed in this morning, one thing that is working right is my auto steer's working right. At least we got that going for us. Well, the second module just got done. It went halfway through the wrapping process. I see no wrap around there, and it threw that error. I don't know if we got wrap rolled around a roller or something back there, but we gotta go check it out. There ain't no wrap going up in there because it is all wrapped around my lower roller right here. So now I get the pleasure of cutting all that mess off and then feeding it back through. I guarantee you my pocket knife ain't gonna be as sharp as I want it to be. These machines are wonderful, but they do come with their own sets of headaches, and this is one of them. I think this happened to us 3 times last year. It's not like it's a real frequent occurrence, but when it does happen, it sure is annoying. I want to find my razor blade. The pocket knife just don't cut it. All right, thanks to my helpers there. We got it off, getting it fed back through. All right, it should wrap now. Keep our fingers crossed. All right, let's see if we can get to wrap now. All right, we got wrap feeding through there. All right, looks like she's wrapped successfully. Alright, that's a good looking roll now. Alright, hopefully that's the end of our problems. Module number 3, no issues with that one, and it looks like the edges are nice and tight, so it's a buzzer. So maybe we got all the little bugs worked out. All of y'all that's farmers and y'all run combines, harvest equipment, y'all, all that kind of stuff, y'all know what it's like that first time when you go to the field. It don't matter how prepared you are, how much time it's spent in the shop, how many details you've paid attention to, there's always going to be some bugs you got to work through there on the get-go. You know, let everything get warmed up, shined up, you know, broke in real good, and then usually things start humming on along, and hopefully that's what's going to happen now. Tell you what, between messing with that blasted old bush hog today and then this picker and everything, I am slap wore out. But on the plus side, I mean, this field of cotton is doing a little bit better than what I thought it would. I mean, my monitor's showing 776. Like I said, I don't know how accurate that is, but based on the number of modules we picked 8.5 acres. We got 3 modules. I mean that's not terrible. It definitely could have been a whole lot worse. So that gum choke up that time. Yep, I got a good choke up. As much as I talk about that buzzer, it just caught a choke up before I had a slip clutch go off. So hopefully we'll save hopefully we'll save a set of doffers. on the last drought. That's the fun thing about getting off the combine and getting on the cotton picker. Have to get down every so often, unplug heads. Normally don't have to do that on the combine. Alright, let's see if we can make it the rest of the day without having to stop again. I now know why that speaker was broke. It wore itself out. I mean, it just constantly going off for everything. It just flat out wore itself out. So right now we're picking our calibration load. We're making one full module. And I got my calibration running up here on the monitor, and tomorrow morning UT brings the scale out and weigh it. And I'm hoping that it'll save the weight in there and I can enter in, you know, the actual weight later after, you know, turning the monitor off and everything. I'm hoping I don't have to pick another calibration module tomorrow morning, but I might have to. But anyway, initially I was pretty surprised by the yields, but let me tell you, the yields have tailed off. There's a whole lot of purple as we worked our way up the hill. You know, we started out down there in some relatively good ground, some flat ground, deep topsoil, and now we're working our way up the hill, and man, yields are bad. I mean, I'm saying a lot of 450, 550, you know, top end 750 pounds an acre, but it's probably averaging maybe 600 as we work our way up the hill. Our field average still showing at 780, but there might be some pleasant surprises in this cotton crop somewhere, but this first field is not pleasantly surprising me. It's doing about what I thought it'd do. That, again, if my monitor's accurate, which I have no idea. But based on the number of modules we spit out, we picked, this will be our 6th module. I'd say the monitor's probably relatively close. I know it sure is taking a long time to get that accumulator filled up. We're going to pick this module, and then I imagine we're going to shut down for the day. Total, we've done 16 acres so far. The vast majority of that's been done in the last hour and a half, 2 hours. And then hopefully we'll be set up for a good long day, a big first, you know, real first day of cotton picking tomorrow. Alright, we got a pretty big module built, so we'll go here to our original green star. It's showing we harvested 5,600 pounds with stop. Hey Carter, this module I got here on the back, just put it up there by the truck. We need to weigh it in the morning. This is my calibration bale, and I'm gonna go up here and we'll go ahead and shut down for the day. $53.80. I think my monitor showing 55 something.
Just a tad high.
Yeah, my monitor reading a little high. All right, we got our calibration weight. A huge thanks to the University of Tennessee Extension for taking time to bring that scale over there, help us calibrate our yield monitor. Now we'll just punch that number in our monitor and calibrate it. All right, we got far enough along that Andy can go ahead and start spreading this chicken litter where we picked just to get ready for wheat planting as soon as we get done picking cotton. So before he gets started though, we got to get a measurement of the density to make sure we're putting out the right rate. Well, considering this stuff hadn't hardly been rained on ever since it was delivered, it's pretty light, like it's pretty dry and fluffy. All right, density of litter, you take a 5-gallon bucket, you weigh it. 20 pounds. And you multiply that times 1.5 and that gives you your density. That's too light. All right, 22 pounds, 10 ounces. Then we need to weigh the bucket. Bucket's 3 pounds. So I say set your density on 20. No. Sorry, I mean set your density on 30. 20 times 1.5. All right, while things are warming up, let's put in our number for the calibration. Monitor showing we harvested 55.94, and we actually harvested 53.80, which is not the number I was hoping to get, but it's a number that we got. Now, it should change this calibration factor. Yep. All right, our yield monitor is now calibrated. Calibrated as good as it's going to get. Cotton yield monitors are not like grain yield monitors. They're not as accurate. For one thing, it's got, I think it's infrared sensors behind the ducts that's shooting beams through the plastic ducts, and supposedly it's counting every seed, and that's how it determines weight, by how many seeds it counts going up through there. Whereas on a combine, you've got a mass flow sensor with grain actually impacting a pressure plate, and it can read the weight of all the grain going in the grain tank. Whereas we're trying to count seeds going up there at a high velocity. So yield monitors are not going to be anywhere close to as accurate as grain monitors. And then also, like I was saying yesterday, we don't know what the turnout of the cotton is. And the turnout is the percentage of the weight of the cotton that we harvested that is actual lint, because that's what we're going off of. You know, we want to produce, 1,100 pounds per acre of lint, which is going to be, 2,800 pounds of total cotton, which will be the lint and the seed and the trash that's in it. And we don't know what that turnout's going to be, and we won't know until this cotton is ginned. So we've got a 40% turnout programmed into our monitor. I've seen turnouts anywhere from like 34% upwards of 42%. And just a 1 or 2% difference in your turnout, I mean, it can make a really big difference in your yield. Right now, I mean, we're somewhere in the 700 pound per acre range, and we got 40% turnout. If we get a 41% turnout, that brings that 700 pounds per acre up to 717 pounds per acre. Conversely, if it's a 39%, we're 685 pounds per acre. That's just how big of a deal, turnout matters on your actual yield. But we won't know that until the cotton's ginned, and that's going to be a ways away. But basically what we're using our yield monitor to do is not to determine what our actual final yield is. It's to map the areas of the field, the good areas and the bad areas, because we will then use these maps in future years to determine seeding rate for corn, maybe some crop removal for fertilizer applications, and that sort of thing. And then in our desktop software, we can go back in and post calibrate all of our data. Once we get the reports back from the gin, we know exactly what it yielded. It can take this map and post calibrate it and adjust the values for each area to actually give us accurate values of what was actually removed from the field. All right, while we're letting the heads warm up and the accumulator warm up, let's look at this map right here. What we harvested yesterday, and you can see the scale. Green is above 1,200 pounds and purple is below 700 pounds with corresponding colors in between. This is where we started out, kind of low-lying area. All the water flows right here. All the topsoil is flowed right here. Then you can see as we work our way up the hill just how much yields have fallen off. And then conversely, up here, some inrows, nice bottom ground. I mean, we're looking at some outstanding cotton right there. But most of the bulk of all of the rest of this right here is, highly eroded hill ground. It looks good. It looks nice and white, but reality, there's just not a whole lot out there. Then let me move my map here. Once we get moved over here, I think all this cotton is going to be significantly better than this, because this half of the field, it was row crop for years and years and years, and then it was put in pasture for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. But to the best of my knowledge, all this right here was in pasture, you know, all of my life up until the last few years when I started cropping it. So this soil is going to be a whole lot better. It's not going to be near as eroded as this, and I hope to see some significantly better yields once we get moved over to this half of the farm. All right, we're ready for the first full day of cotton picking. And yesterday I made the mistake. I choked the accumulator up. I didn't hit my button down here to run the accumulator in manual mode quick enough, and consequently I choked everything up. So I'm just going to keep this button over here mashed down until we get you know, a good size module started, and then I'll kick it over into automatic then. And that's just it's a common problem with these pickers. I don't know if anybody knows why, but I mean, the baler has to get good and warmed up, the belts get good and warmed up. Otherwise, when you try to get that first module started, if you're trying to send in a large volume of cotton, it chokes up the floor belt that feeds the baler and everything, and then you gotta stop and break it down and clean all of it out. So we're just gonna keep feeding this thing in manual until we get a decent sized module started, and then everything ought to work real smooth after that.